Chapter 8 talks about students who are gifted and talented, and universally we don't give that topic much time. So I'm going to have you be the judge. Who's gifted? We have Zhang and we have John. Let's hear what their stories are. So John receives all A's in content area tests, but he misses a lot of school because he is not interested and refuses to complete makeup assignments. He got kicked off of the track team in his sophomore year because he talked back to the coach. He has a lot of friends. Just briefly, what would be your quick thoughts about John and giftedness? We have Zhang. Zhang speaks 2 languages. English not so well, but he's getting B's in all of his classes, and even though he misses classes because he's working at the family business, he's involved in music. The orchestra teacher notes that Zhang has an extraordinary memory for music. He also has a great sense of humor, but he's quiet most of the time and has very few friends. So take a moment and think about what might pick your mind about Zhang, and is he gifted? So what characteristics are associated with a gifted child's abilities? Let's look at the cognitive and academic skills. Typically we think of high IQ and A's, teacher-pleasing behavior, interest in learning, quiet, some of those things that maybe you or some of your friends or people that you knew were identified as being gifted. Okay, they may be quick readers, early readers, and just ask lots of questions and build their knowledge base. We might also think about social and emotional needs of kids who are gifted. Sometimes we have those students who are very shy and withdrawn. On the other hand, we might have those students who are outgoing, involved in everything, lead, hardly give anybody else the chance to talk because they're always engaged in verbal combat or just discussions. So we have sort of all ends of the continuum there. Same with behavior patterns. We have those kids who are assertive, who are sometimes even defiant or defensive when it comes to others who may not be as smart as they are. So that's kind of a little bit egocentric. On the other hand, we have kids who are well liked and again have a deep sense of social justice, doing the right thing for everybody, and speaking out against fairness issues if they don't seem to be meeting the needs of all students. As far as creativity, just because a person is gifted doesn't mean that they're creative, but we do have lots of folks who have high skills in music or art or even just, as I mentioned earlier, leadership abilities, being able to articulate things, or perhaps they are very athletic and stand out above the crowd. So we have all areas represented in those students who are identified as gifted. Just for fun, here's a Torrance test of creativity, one of the things that is used to see if there are some creative possibilities that might be missed. If we were to look at what John might have drawn and what Zhang might have drawn, we see that John has kind of gone outside the box. He drew a little man. Zhang, on the other hand, he used all of the diamonds and created a picture behind a picture. He has it titled James Joyce in the Confessional. If you were to grade those, what do you think? Which one would you rate higher? In honesty, Zhang's picture would have received a higher score than John. And in part it's because he used the entire area for his picture. He titled it and created some sort of a visual imagery, whereas the artistry of John, if that would have been his drawing, was great, but it didn't really go any further than just what it was. I mean, he didn't title it, he didn't use any action, and those are some of the things that the test looks for. So the other thing that's really important for us to remember are there are students who are twice exceptional. That means that they have both a disability and a gift. So we need to remember that educating the whole child is important. Too many times the student with a disability is seen first as needing service for the disability, whereas the gifted side does not go addressed. We know that there are brilliant people, both from our past and present, who are 2E individuals, and we can think of whether it's Beethoven, who was a deaf musician but created wonderful compositions. We can also think of Stephen Hawking, a physicist who discovered and wrote about the black hole. He has cerebral palsy, and you probably can go on and think of other 2E individuals. What about underachieving students? If we think about both Zhang and John, are these students who might be underachieving for lots of different reasons? Maybe John has that attitude, a little bit of defiance. Maybe Zhang has a little bit of some of the characteristics that go along with English learners, not being confident. So they might be considered underachieving. What would be some things you could do for them? First of all, make sure you're holding them to expectations. Review what's going on with them both at school and outside of school. Kind of get the rest of the story. So, who's gifted? And what are you going to do about it?